Hello and welcome to the next video of The Educationist. And today we will be talking about how to make a good impression in an interview. Right. Now, we are all faced with taking an interview sometime or the other in our lives. And it's extremely important to make a good impression on the person who is interviewing you. So what I've done is I've put together 5 tips on how you can impress the interviewer and how you can prepare yourself to be more confident whilst taking the interview. And the way I've designed these tips is to keep in mind what you can do before the interview and what you can do during the interview. Now, whenever we appear for an interview, we may have all sorts of thoughts going on in our heads. Like, am I good enough? I don't think I'm good enough for this job. So there is a lot of self-doubt. There may be a lot of self-auditing. Well, I hope that these 5 tips will help you address these and more apprehensions. So the first tip I am going to talk about is how you can prepare yourself when you're on the way to the interview. Because that's the time you are doubting yourself the most. That's the time a lot of bad thoughts may be coming in your head. That's the time you need to think about your superpowers. Superpowers. We don't have superpowers, do we? No, but we do. My superpower is my family. I'm loved in the family. I'm important to my family members. So I always take strength from the fact that my family members are hooting for me. Right? So you're not alone. You don't feel lonely. You get the confidence from your family members. Now they want you to succeed in life all the time. So what better way than to start preparing mentally for the interview by thinking of the people who love you the most. The second superpower that we all have is that we may have had some achievements in life, whether in studies, if it's your first job interview, or some successes or achievements or awards that you may have won in your previous jobs, a tough situation that you handled and you came out as a winner, some new ideas that you gave your last company that helped them rake in more revenue, some new deals that you cracked, a new technique of sales that you deployed to get more business, maybe a new revenue stream that you gave as an idea to your last company. Now, these are all important things that your interviewer would want to hear from you. You may have some extracurricular activities where you succeeded. Not only that, maybe you volunteered to do some NGO work. The more you think about your successes in professional life, you start gaining confidence in yourself, which gives you a lot of strength to go out and do a great job. So this is the time when you need to give yourself a pat on the back. So my superpowers are my family members, and my second superpower is the achievements that I have made in my professional life or in my academic life. My next tip is to be informed. By being informed, I just don't mean being informed about the role and the job responsibilities. What I mean by this is, have you done enough homework about the company? Do you know the person you're going to meet? Do you know any people who may be working in the same company who may help you know more about its culture and the kind of questions that may come your way? Have you read about the company in any media articles that may have come in the last few years? Any recent activities the company has done? Any business wins the company has made recently? Any social contributions? Any celebrity endorsements? So you see, there are a lot of things that you need to research on before you go to an interview. And now I'm going to share 3 tips with you of what you can do whilst the interview is going on. The first thing you can do is be truthful. I can't emphasize on this fact and this point more. False CVs, false achievements, false references tend to get red flagged very soon. Because hey, if you are doing research about the company and the interviewer, don't forget the company is also doing the same thing about you. My next tip of how you can create a better impression whilst the interview is going on is to use leading questions in the interview or leading points in the interview. What do you mean by leading points and leading questions? Well, let me give you an example. I'm creating a hypothetical situation right now where someone has just asked me a question about, tell me something more about yourself. Now, more often than not, what we do is we tend to repeat things we've already included in our CV. We shouldn't do that. Under the assumption that our CV would have already been read and that's the basis on which we've been shortlisted. The interviewer is giving you a free run, and that's the opportunity when you can tell the interviewer something that they can ask the next question on. Imagine if someone is interviewing me right now and they ask me this question. So I'd like to begin this answer by saying I consider myself as a solutions salesman. I love solving for complex business issues, and I'm also very good at adding new and fresh revenue streams to the company, like I've done in my previous job, which actually gave the company crores in revenue. Now, what I did in this answer is that I've created some bit of curiosity in the interviewer's mind by giving him only a little bit of information, by telling him that I added a new revenue stream in the previous company I was working with that generated crores in revenue. Now, the interviewer is definitely going to ask you after I finish answering this question as to, well, Gaurav, can you tell me a little bit more about what you did in your previous company that gave your company additional revenue of crores? So what you did is that you planted the next question in the answer of the first. So this technique is called using leading points in your conversation to make the interviewer ask you the very questions that you're comfortable answering, rather than be at the mercy of the interviewer so that he or she may ask you practically anything. Now, in most job roles, a little bit of pressure is natural, and the interviewer may try to understand and assess your readiness to work under. Now, it's not desirable, but it does happen at times and you can't help it. So the interviewer will ask you uncomfortable questions to put you off psychologically, physiologically, and you need to be able to handle uncomfortable questions. Why am I showing you this image? This photograph is of our heroic army Jawans posted at the Siachen Glacier. That's the highest and the toughest battlefield in the world. And what do you think? The army Jawans just land up at Siachen Glacier? No, you can't. Siachen Glacier is 20,000 feet and above. You need to be mentally and physically strong to be able to take that kind of environment. So be prepared that you will be asked questions that will make you uncomfortable. And I'd like to sign off by telling you that after your interview, you must always give the interviewers some time before they can come back to you. Because let's understand, you are just one of the candidates that the interviewer met. So they may take some time before they can even come back to you. But if you don't hear back from the company, it's always good to circle back after a week or so and write to the person and ask them where you stand after the interview was conducted.